and then
All right, we're recording.
Great. So thank you everyone for joining. This is the first research seminar for IFF for this academic year. And it's a pleasure and an honor to have Dr. Justin Goldston with us. I'll give him the floor in a couple of minutes to introduce himself in more detail, but just to give you a very brief overview. He's a professor at Penn State University, has a very large number of years of industrial experience working with various organizations. He's a very frequently sought speaker in events, including TEDx, and he has been working in metaverse-related research over the past couple of years. He was kind enough to reach out to us when we launched our new masters in Metaverse, and I've invited him to be our first speaker for this academic year. Justin, I'll just go very quickly through the people who are on this call. We have Antonis Polemitis, who's the CEO of the University of Nicosia, and I guess the driving force behind the university's very early entrance into the world of crypto, blockchain, Web3 decentralization, and now the metaverse. We have Professor Marinos Themistokleous, who's the Associate Dean of the School of Business and the Program Coordinator of our new Masters in Metaverse. We have Sula Luka, who's also a professor at the Department of Digital Innovation and the Director of the Institute for the Future. And we have a number of our researchers and staff, including Leonidas Katelaris, who's also co-teaching in the MSc in Metaverse, Lambis Dionysopoulos, Evgenia Kapasa, Andreas Deladetsimas, and George Ioannou. These are the people that I see in the call at the moment. Maybe others will be joining us. So without further ado, I'll give the floor to Justin. The idea is to have a presentation for the first 20 minutes or so, and then have an open discussion either on the themes that Justin will touch upon in his talk, or anything that we want to discuss really. So Justin, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you all for joining. Have more people in here than I expected. So that's a good turnout. So a little bit about myself. I've been teaching in the supply chain program at Penn State University. I've also on the advisory board at Georgetown in the United States, and I've also worked with the University of Southern California in developing their Master's in Sustainability program. But my real passion is within Web3. So I've done a number of TEDx talks in the last bull market on Web3 and blockchain, and done a lot of studies on soul-bound tokens. Did one of the first studies on soul-bound tokens. Did one of the first case studies on the metaverse where we talked about BitCountry. We're actually going to go into BitCountry on this presentation. So I'm going to looking to demonstrate my knowledge within the Web3 space as well as within a blockchain space in this presentation. So we're going to go through a number of different metaverses in this presentation, but the first we're going to go through is the Voxels metaverse, formerly CryptoVoxels. And before we go in, I do want to talk about the metaverse entrepreneurship, because that is going to be kind of the premise of this presentation, but pointing out some of the things that individuals can do from an entrepreneurship perspective is they can build within the metaverse. They can white label metaverse builds, which is essentially what I did within this metaverse. But one thing I've worked with leaders of organizations on, especially within the healthcare space as well as within the education space, is if they can token gate their metaverses. So one of the reasons why we chose Voxels is because the token gating capabilities, where within the metaverse program you can actually token gate, where similar to your MOOC, you can token gate where only students can go into the metaverse, and then you can still present within the metaverse. Also for entrepreneurs from a marketing perspective, if you're looking to kind of monetize their metaverse builds, then you can also demonstrate the traffic that you can, or show the traffic from in your particular metaverse build. So you can see on the 14th, last month there was a lot of traffic within this build, where we actually did an event for Internet Computer Protocol, ICP, and then as you can see on the events here, we did an event last year on Polkadot and Kusama through a grant that we received from Polkadot. And then also you can set up meetings where we already have that presentation, the presentation that we're doing today, where anyone within Metaverse, because it wasn't token gated, anyone can be in voxels and they can actually go into the presentation that we're about to go into now. Okay, so we're about to go into this build in voxels, and again, voxels is actually on the Ethereum blockchain. And I see some people are actually in this build already. So if we give it a time to render, going into the agenda. So today we're going to talk about metaverse architecture. We're also going to talk about the meetings. So we did briefly talk about the token gating for these events. We're also going to talk about how we can educate individuals within the metaverse. And then also we're going to discuss the NFT creation. So we're going to go into BitCountry. I'm going to show you where I created NFTs directly within the metaverse, right? And they're on chain. And then we're also going to go into the gallery that we have set up within this metaverse build. We're also going to go into BitCountry and talk about land investment. And we're also going to talk about land investment within Illuvium. And then we're also going to go into Illuvium and talk about gaming within the metaverse. Okay. And then the ultimate goal from a metaverse perspective, we're also going to be discussing the interoperability between different metaverses. So someone else is coming in here. Give me a second. I got to, let me see if I can do this. I have to let someone in. All right. All right. So within, also within the metaverse, you can, so if you have your metaverse build, you can actually click an option, and then that's going to do an external link for a particular, if someone's sponsoring an event or something like that, right? So I have the Masters in the Metaverse where I promoted this within the metaverse here, and then also I've also did a hyperlink, an external link as well for the Masters program. Okay. Also from an NFT gallery perspective, you can see a number of holders within the SidTech DAO metaverse hold a number of apes. So if you are an artist, you can actually show your artwork within the metaverse. So you can sell your artwork in a metaverse. You can hold events within the metaverse as an artist. But then also, if I go through the lobby here, you can also see where if you're an artist and you want to sell your artwork, you can embed your artwork within the metaverse build, and then you can have a direct link on OpenSea where you can actually sell your artwork. Now, your artwork will still remain in the metaverse, but you would just be transferring ownership of your artwork from yourself to the new holder. So there's a direct link on OpenSea, and that's how that's integrated within a metaverse. All right, got that admit. All right, so, and then you can also see where I still have some other promotional materials for the master's program. But another reason why we chose the Voxels metaverse, and as you can see is voxel based, is because you can live stream either through Twitch or through YouTube, and then you can actually run events. You can run classes directly within the metaverse. Now, you'll see in BitCountry very shortly, you'll see where you can do the same thing within BitCountry, where you can share your screen, where you can run events. But Voxels was one of the first where you could actually embed videos and actually run classes within the metaverse. And we've run a number of different events within this from the entrepreneurship perspective. So if you have a build, then if an organization comes to you, then you can rent out your space in the Web3 world, similar to how you can rent out your space in the Web2 world. Going back to events in the metaverse. So let's see. Second here. So Amstel is actually a neighbor within the metaverse. And if you just Google Amstel in the metaverse in YouTube, you'll see where Amstel actually ran an event within the Voxels metaverse. So they ran concerts. So that's another option that you could do from an entrepreneurship perspective. And then if you can see within Voxels, there's a number of individuals who have started their build. You can see that the market has had an impact, especially also from a metaverse build perspective. But current state, all of these builds required architects. So the reason why Voxels created this voxel-based model was to get more Minecraft developers or Minecraft architects, if you will, within the metaverse, within the Web3 space. So if you have people with that experience in building in voxels, now they can come into the Web3 space. Now they can come into voxels and monetize off of that from a metaverse architecture perspective. Okay. And then also similar to the Web2 world, if you are a landowner, if you're looking to acquire property, what I forgot to say, none of this is financial advice. None of this is the views of the University of Nicosia. These are just the views of Justin Goldston. So I had to include that. My apologies. But these lots here are more valuable. They cost more ETH than a normal property if you're more inland. So similar to the Web2 world, you're also going to have that consideration as well. So going back to, that's voxels. And if you have any questions, you can just put those questions in the chat. But now we're going to go to different other metaverses. So we're first going to start into BitCountry. And as I said, I can click this link and then that takes me into a hyperlink. So I'm going to go on a BitCountry. So once again, BitCountry is a metaverse that's built on Polkadot and Kusama. If you're not familiar with the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems, Kusama is the live testnet, if you will, that has value. So Polkadot, BitCountry, along with other projects within the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, they go on to Kusama first, test out functionality, try to break the application, try to break the system, and then they make adjustments and go to Polkadot. So currently BitCountry is on Kusama. They just won a parachain slot within Polkadot last Monday. So within here, BitCountry is different in that you own your own metaverse. So BitCountry on the Metaverse.network is a collection of different metaverses. So this D.A.T.A could essentially be seen as one metaverse. And I can have a space, so similar to how within Voxels, I can have a space. So I have a University of Nicosia space within BitCountry. And then similar to how I can live stream on Voxels, I can also create a meeting within BitCountry, and then I could also essentially share my screen. I can share my screen within the BitCountry, for example. So now I'm sharing Voxels within the BitCountry metaverse. Okay, so that's how you would actually run meetings within BitCountry. That was just one example here. So now I'm going to end this meeting. But then also within BitCountry, because I have my own metaverse, a number of things are centralized within my metaverse. So for example, within my metaverse, I've actually had 2,600 near traded in NFTs within my own metaverse. So I've minted NFTs, I've sold NFTs, but because those NFTs are within my metaverse, if people buy those NFTs from me and sell them within the metaverse, I still receive royalties from that particular metaverse.
Yes, they never had one. It's cold country. Never had one. That's the scariest thing.
All right, somebody else see here. Who's all right? Somebody muted. Okay.
I don't understand.
Let's see if I can mute real quick. There we go. I think we're good now. All right. So also you can link your social links to BitCountry. So another benefit to BitCountry is the marketplace, as I said before. So within the marketplace, that's where I can actually buy and sell my NFTs, my non-fungible tokens. Also within the BitCountry metaverse, you can actually craft NFTs directly on chain within the BitCountry metaverse. So here's some NFTs that I created. I just printed it. I did this like about 10 minutes before this presentation, just for presentation purposes. About a few months ago, I did a demonstration within BitCountry for Jameson whiskey, where I actually used Midjourney. So I used AI to generate these NFTs. And then I minted those NFTs for presentation purposes for Jameson whiskey on the metaverse on chain. I put them up for presentation purposes, but then someone went in and actually bought them. So that's just how you can actually create your own ecosystem, create your own gallery within your metaverse. Okay, so that's just one metaverse within the BitCountry, Polkadot, and Kusama ecosystems. And I think I might have lost my session. Let me go back in here. And then if you go into Voxels, you can type in SITTech University, and then you can see a number of our builds. We've been taking advantage of the bear market and, purchasing plots from an investor perspective and providing a space for architects and developers to kind of test out metaverse architecture. So if we just give it some time. Okay, got 5 more minutes. The next one is TCG World. I'm just checking to see how slow. There's a little lag here, so I have to run 2 different computers. Okay, so TCG World. TCG World is a metaverse built on the Binance Smart Chain. TCG World is built on Unity. So I'm sure that you go into the architecture and talk about the differences between Unity and Unreal Engine. So TCG World is built on Unity. And as you can see, all of the little green plots here within this metaverse map is individual owners, so investors that are buying individual property. You can see on the right hand side here where SITTech, it has a large plot. So we have a partnership with TCG World where we're actually going to educate all of these landowners on a variety of different areas within the metaverse. So again, this is a different metaverse, again, built in Unity. And then also similar to BitCountry, they also have a marketplace. So you as an entrepreneur can go in and you can actually buy plots directly within this marketplace. You can also purchase cars. So as an entrepreneur, you can actually have a car lot. You can be a used car salesman. You can be a new car salesman within the metaverse, because you can purchase these cars and then you can drive around the TCG World metaverse with these NFTs. So once again, all of this information is on chain, and then it will demonstrate the ownership within TCG World. So once again, TCG World, that is on a Binance Smart Chain. And the last one, okay, I got 3 minutes. The last metaverse I want to talk about is going to be Illuvium. So based on my research, out of all metaverses that I've reviewed a number of them. Illuvium is the metaverse that has kind of had the most development. Within Illuvium, it's kind of very, very smart. I won't say brilliant. It's innovative. I'll put it that way. Where Illuvium has they have three different offerings. This fourth one, this is like NFT where you can purchase NFTs, but they essentially have three different offerings from a metaverse perspective. Where Illuvium Arena is a PvP, like a team fight tactics type approach. Illuvium Overworld is their metaverse, if you will, where you can explore a different metaverse. And then Illuvium Zero is more like SimCity, if you're old enough to remember SimCity, where it's more of a strategy where you purchase land, you will actually fuel resources. So you mine these resources, and then you also catch alluvials within this land, and then you sell the resources that you have created, right? That you generated from the land that you've purchased, and then you can also sell the alluvials in the form of NFTs. So in a way, it's a strategy, because in order to explore the Illuvium overworld, you actually have to use the fuel that you have to get from the owners of Illuvium Zero. And then once you catch the alluvials in the overworld, then you take the alluvials and then you fight those alluvials for ETH in Illuvium Arena. So it's essentially a tiered approach. And again, like I said, it's very innovative, where they have three different products where you can pick and choose. You can actually invest in all of those worlds, right? And they've created their own metaverse economy. So the last thing, so actually I actually have Illuvium Zero. So if I go here and then, hold on, give me a second. I'm actually looking at my other screen to see how much lag I have. Because it looks like, okay, so stop share. See, this is a benefit. This is a benefit to, give me a second. All right, so stop share. So now I'm in Illuvium Zero. So now I'm in my land plots on Illuvium Zero. So these are my land plots, and then you can see that I've captured all alluvials within these lands, if you will. I'm getting a lot of land. I'm getting a lot of lag here. So you can see where once this comes up, you can see where I've actually started to mine all this fuel, and then within Illuvium, I could sell this fuel at any given time, because people within the overworld need that fuel to navigate. They need that fuel to catch those alluvials, right? So again, it's a tiered approach, and from a metaverse perspective, it's one that is very, very clever and one I haven't seen before. So as we wrap up, as I said, whenever we're talking about the metaverse, when we're talking about metaverse entrepreneurship, it essentially depends upon what your needs are going to be. It depends on, where you're looking to what your activities are in the metaverse. So if you're creating meetings, you're going to be in certain metaverse. You're going to be in voxels. You're going to be in Decentraland. You're going to probably not Sandbox, but Somnium Space, for example. If you're more of a gamer, Sandbox, Illuvium. If you're looking for more of an industrial or enterprise type offering, you may look at NVIDIA's Omniverse. So it just depends on, what the needs are of the individuals. It just depends on, what you're looking for as a metaverse entrepreneur. Hopefully that was helpful. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much, Justin, for this presentation. You managed to go through so many metaverses in such a short time. I would never be able to do that. So thank you for that. I will take advantage of my position since I have the microphone now and ask you the first question, and then open up the floor to others. I would just like to say, because many people joined the call after we started, if someone asks a question, please say who you are first and what your position is in IFF. So my question is the following. I'm an educator, right? And I'm interested in how metaverses could be used for educational purposes. Since I guess you've done lectures and seminars and you know, learning-oriented activities within metaverses, can you share with us your insights regarding, you know, the pros and cons of using metaverse as an educational tool from a pedagogical perspective? So to say, what works, what still needs to be done? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a great question, and that's essentially why we built that build, you know, in CITEC University, where it's more of an experiential, you know, research, where I actually taught the last 2 semesters at Penn State in the metaverse. And what I found was there was increased engagement within the metaverse because the students had their own avatars. They were more apt to speak up. They were more apt to ask questions they would not be asking in a traditional classroom, right? You know, similar to how we have a video on right now. Some students won't ask questions like that, but they'll ask questions as an avatar, you know, with a different name that they wouldn't ask if they're on a Zoom call. So the engagement from a student perspective was actually increased. Also, the ultimate goal for, you know, the whole CITEC DAO was to democratize education, to have education available for everyone. You know, I have a number of peers at USC, I have a number of peers at MIT, at Princeton, and I said, okay, you can be a top tier professor at Princeton at the Ivy League. You might, you know, you'll make, you know, low 6 figures. You're the top in your industry. You're going to make low 6 figures. You can go everyone knows you. You can go into the metaverse. You can mint NFTs for $10, $20 a piece. And now you have thousands of people that you're teaching the same exact content you're teaching at Princeton in the metaverse, and you can teach it 2 or 3 times a week. So now you're making 4 or 5 times what you're making as you know, within academia. And again, from a researcher perspective, I have not gotten a single pushback from researchers. They said, Justin, when is this going to be ready? Because they want to make a difference. They're going to make a greater impact in the metaverse that they're going to make at an institution that you have to pay $80,000 to attend, right? And I mean, we've seen, you know, the outputs of the MOOCs. Everyone was, you know, positive about the MOOCs, but the people who should be taking the MOOCs aren't taking it. And the ones that are taking the MOOCs from the Ivy Leagues, from the MITs, from the Stanfords, are the ones that already have graduate degrees, that already have higher education degrees. I'm one of those, right? Where if you're going to give me free education from an Ivy League, I'm going to take it, right? So I think that the metaverse provides a different outlet where you're going to get more engagement as compared to the MOOCs of these schools just throwing up, you know, regular lectures on YouTube, if you will. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Let's open the discussion. I don't think we need to raise hands. We're a few of us, so just feel free to turn your microphone on and ask a question if you have.
George.
Yes, Ilya.
Hello. Yes. First of all, many thanks, Justin, for this excellent presentation. So my name is Ilyas Yosif. I am assistant professor at the university, coming from a technical background. So my questions will have this orientation. We have seen numerous systems. So the first question is if there is a common design pattern in their architecture as software systems, and related to that, how one can characterize those systems and compare them, rank them, if you like, according to high-level decentralization degree, which of course relates to the first part of my question about the architecture. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so if I'm following your question correctly, so from an architecture perspective, there's a number of different architectures out there, and whenever you so you'll have crypto voxels, that's voxel based, and that's only Ethereum, that's only an Ethereum ecosystem. Alluvium is actually on Unreal Engine. They're in the Ethereum ecosystem, but they're actually on a layer 2, where they're creating gasless transactions on a mutable X, right? So voxels and Alluvium are in the same ecosystem, right? Although Alluvium is a roll up, but they're in the same ecosystem, but they're two different architectures, if you will, right? So the architecture is going to depend on the metaverse. It's similar to these projects where some are going to choose Binance, some are going to choose Ethereum. It just depends on what the needs of these metaverse creators are going to be. That answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on the needs.
Mm-hmm. And even given this diversity in the ecosystem, is it possible for one to assess more or less a decentralization degree related to the architecture and say, hey, this score characterizes, let's say, the decentralization of this architecture, and compared to that architecture, we have an advantage because this is more decentralized from an architectural point of view than the other? Is this possible according to your understanding and experience?
It's possible, and I never thought about that. That's actually a good. You know what? That's a case study right there. Reach out to me. We're gonna have to do that one. But yeah, I mean, I think that's as possible. It's not something that's been done before. That's a good case study.
Okay. So thank you very much once again. Thank you.
If I may ask also a question, please.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Justin, for this very informative presentation on these different virtual worlds. If I understood correctly, you use them to teach some courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how did you find the engagement of the faculty? Because I assume you taught a variety of disciplines within these metaverses, and did you have a hard time engaging the faculty that were going to teach these courses? And did you try to identify their needs for training before that? I mean, how did you do that?
Yes. So current state. So if you Google Morehouse, Google Morehouse College, they're actually able to pull it off, where like the hard sciences, that's very difficult. I have not found a way, like, biology, chemistry, those hard sciences. I haven't found a way to do that, but Morehouse College is able to pull it off. So they developed a proprietary metaverse. If I remember correctly, I think they received a grant to actually develop that. But I'm more in a business type area, computer science type area, where that's a whole lot. Those people are technically savvy. They understand it. So it's going to be easier for them to onboard. Okay.
Yeah. But now, we all believe, for example, that in the medical school, such systems, they could be very helpful. So if we were to engage, let's say, the doctors that are teaching within these courses and how to carry out all these different surgeries, has anything like that been done?
It's been discussed.
Okay.
It's been discussed. And so there's one of my peers, he actually teaches at Penn State Hershey, and he's a urologist. So he said before all this came in, He said we were sitting behind a wall with a little remote control, and we're performing surgeries, you know, with the remote control. So like when we're talking about AR and VR, he said from a medical perspective, we've been doing that. He said it just needs to somehow transition into the metaverse for training purposes. Right?
Okay. Yep.
They're not that from what I've found based on my research, that hasn't happened yet, but it's going to be an easy transition because they've been doing those types of things in the medical space now. I mean, beforehand. Now, I don't know what the legalities of that is going to be to move it into the metaverse, right? But I think that's once they iron out the legalities of that, you know, and what you can do in the metaverse, I think that's going to be an easy transition because they've actually been doing that now. You know, with the AR and VR, they've been doing that in the medical space. So it'll be an easy transition. We just got to figure out the legal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr.
If there is
Goldston.
no-
Oh, no, sorry, if you want to
Yeah,
say.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to thank you very much, of course, for this presentation as well. I'm a research assistant here at the IFF. I wrote my question in the chat, but I prefer to communicate orally anyway, so it's better for me to say it on camera, of course. So when I think of the metaverse and its future, what you said about minting NFTs on-chain on the metaverse, to me that sounded very interesting, because when I think about future products and services, they seem like a self-functioning metaverse like this seems what it should be, if that makes sense. So for me, that sounded very interesting, and I wanted your opinion on that specific functionality, like that in combination, of course, with interoperability, since of course we want businesses and of course individuals to interact on the metaverse. Do you think that's an important functionality, or focus should be given elsewhere, if that makes sense?
I think it depends on the individual, to be honest. So similar. So I mean, if you all are familiar with FriendTech and what's going on with FriendTech on Base, on the Base ecosystem, you know, where they're trying to bring Twitter on chain on Base, you know, so you've seen where the token value of an individual on chain increases and decreases, right? So for those influencers, this on-chain single metaverse would be important, right? Now, if you don't really have that community and you're looking to build that community, now you might want to be in a more collaborative type metaverse, all right, if that makes sense. So if you have a big following, if you have a business, if you're an entrepreneur, right, that metaverse, the on-chain, the NFTs within that metaverse has value. But if you're an individual that's new within the Web3 space, these are my thoughts. I don't see though that individual metaverse having that much value. And you may be better off going into more of a collaborative type community. So if you go into BitCountry, pioneer.bit.country, you'll see what they refer to as Chaos Land. So Chaos Land is more of that community driven type metaverse, right? Where everyone collaborates. Now you have your own metaverse, where once you've made a connections in Chaos Land, now those connections come over to your metaverse, and now you have people minting NFTs in your metaverse, and now you get royalties because it's your metaverse. You've made the investment, you purchased the land, they're using your land, right? Where if you're an individual, before you make those connections, you're not really going to have that much value, that much of a return on investment. Talk about entrepreneurship here.
Yeah.
Answer your question.
Yeah. When I asked that question, that's what I had in mind from the beginning, like brands and businesses gaining value from this. So you answered it perfectly. Yeah.
Yes. Brands and businesses. This is going to be immense. And you know, a lot of people say the metaverse is dead. If the metaverse was dead, I wouldn't have organizations reaching out to me every month to do just a quick, you know, presentation. You know, so that's my community service as of late.
Thank you very much again.
Justin, from your experience in this course delivery, what do you think worked best and what didn't work?
I would say getting people from different areas, like all around the world, works best in this particular modality, because you've seen where we'll do like, you know, presentations, and we'll have 5 people show up, but yet you'll get 2,000 views, right? I don't think that goes away, but just because of the environment, I think you're gonna get more people in there because they can collaborate more in real time, right? Now, what doesn't work best? What doesn't work best is we actually experienced it. It's like the infrastructure. Ultimately, the infrastructure is not there. It's laggy. There's things like, I was trying to let people in a meeting and I was having issues with that, you know. So the infrastructure, in my opinion, the infrastructure is not there. When we talk about AR and VR, these are my thoughts. We're years away from that, because Voxels has an integration on MetaQuest. It crashes left and right. The only metaverse that works on Quest is, of course, Meta's Horizon World. It's the only one that works, right? Maybe that's purposeful, but based on my experience, that's the only one that works, because, like I said, there's an integration for voxels, but it's just crashing because I don't think the infrastructure is there. So, you know, I think that there was one question that came up, on what the future hold for AR and VR. It's not there at this given point in time. I can't tell you when it's going to get there. You know, the hardware aspects, and they're really not my specialization. You know, it's more the metaverse. But I think that what doesn't work is what people are describing. We're not there yet. Did that answer your question?
I agree with you, actually. Yeah. I think we have something else in our mind, and then we see something else.
Yeah, but it's actually, I mean, it's the same thing as AI, in my opinion. I love AI, but all the use cases people are talking about AI, it's like, I'm a tech guy. I'm like, that's not possible. Not right now. But, you know, I think we have to, and that's why I love Nicosia. Y'all are at the foundation of all this. And if we start to collaborate and start to build this out, you know, once the infrastructure gets there, you're gonna be at the foundation of it. And all of these organizations that are developing these, I mean, just look at the MOOC you had. You had the top names in the Web3 space. You couldn't get anybody else. There was no one else to get. so, you know, hats off to you all on that. I still don't know how you pulled that one off, but, you know, that's what you have to keep pressing, because, like, these people are still, I'm connected in the Web3 space, within the metaverse space. These people are still building. A lot of people are very quiet in what they're building. So, and that's why I still continue to, you know, collaborate, especially like right now is a perfect time to collaborate with these people in the metaverse, with these builders, with these developers, right? Because once this metaverse takes off, once this bull run happens, you're not going to be able to reach out to these people. I've experienced it. That's from my experience. So.
Thank you.
All right. So there was one note. All right, what do you mean the NFT does not leave the metaverse, but its ownership is transferred? Yeah, so whenever in that gallery, that NFT picture will still be there in that particular metaverse, right? But on chain, that ownership will transfer. So let's just say it was my NFT, and I sold it to you. That NFT, the NFT picture is still going to be in that metaverse. But if you go on OpenSea and purchase it, the on-chain ownership transfers to you from me. Now you can reach out to me and say, okay, Justin, I just bought that from you. Can you take that down out of your metaverse build? Then we take it down. So that's what I mean, that, you know, once the ownership transfers, that picture in the gallery still remains. Does that answer your question? Okay, yeah, perfect. I think that's all the questions in the chat.
There's one more question, I think, in the chat. I don't know whether it's within your field of expertise. Manos is asking, what does the future hold on VR and AR devices support? I think in the context of the metaverses that you presented.
Yes, I think we're still years away from that. I still think we're years away from that. I want to be proven wrong. Put it that way. Current state, I don't think the infrastructure is there. I think, and also from a development perspective, everyone's focus is on AI right now. So I don't think that the level of focus that needs to happen in terms of AR and VR support is there right now. You know, once the AI craze kind of dies out, then they might redirect. Once the bull run happens, then they may redirect their focus on the AR and VR support. But then also in addition to that, I may be proven wrong because AI may accelerate the development of AR and VR support. You know, that's another consideration. So that's another thought, where, you know, AI may, although the focus is on AI may accelerate the development of AR and VR within the metaverse.
I'm not sure I agree with this. I mean, in the sense of like what the crypto or blockchain projects are doing, I agree that there's no focus on AR or VR at the moment. They're just creating 2D virtual worlds. But if you look at what organizations like Meta is doing with you know, Oculus and Horizon Worlds and all that stuff, I think there's a tremendous focus on AR and VR. Meta is releasing their Ray-Ban 2 glasses next month. So there's lots of devices coming in the market. So I'm not sure whether, you know, we won't see a sudden, you know, introduction in the market of a number of device based metaverses or metaverse applications. I don't know what's your take on this one.
So do you think, so yes, AR and VR is going to be introduced into the market. I like this conversation, by the way. Although it may be introduced into the market, do you think that the focus and integration is going to be within the metaverse? Or is it going to be kind of AR within like from like a marketing perspective? So I think we've seen on LinkedIn where they've like unveiled things and seen dragons on these buildings, or something opened up and you see this big, you know, marketing from an AR perspective. You know, that's where I see the focus is now. Do you see? I mean, because I forget what project it is, but there's one you all may know. It's leaving me right now, but you know, they've done a kind of like an overlay of the United States, where you can kind of do an AR and VR when you start building buildings like on any parts of the world. So you could actually purchase, you know, land on anywhere in the United States, and then you can actually build using AR and VR. Overland, overworld. I think it's overworld or overland. It's one of the two. OVR.land or OVR.world, something like that. But where they're actually implementing AR and VR, you know, in that. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm just curious to say, yes, although those tools are coming out, will their focus, so yes, Horizon Worlds, but they're only focused on Horizon Worlds, or are they going to also integrate the AR and VR within these other tools and essentially their competitors? You know, so that's just.
No, I guess they want to build a walled garden around their ecosystem. So it's going to be only Oculus and Horizon Worlds and Ray-Ban glasses and all that stuff. But I mean, they have access to like 2 billion people. So maybe, you know, they will be able to drive adoption more than any, you know, voxels or Decentraland or Sandbox or Somnium or all the other projects would be able to do together. I don't know.
Yeah, but see, I'm not a Horizon Worlds fan. I'm not a Meta fan. Just put it out there, but it's not too bad. It's actually not too bad. So yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see, because that will be the one. I agree with you. That will be the first one that will integrate and actually will kind of set the stage on where this whole metaverse thing goes. Although it's centralized, you know, what they develop is going to set the stage on where this goes, because like you said, they had the people, they had the infrastructure, and they had the war chest.
Yeah. And as Manos is saying in the chat, Apple is also doing the same thing. And I mean, from my experience, I've tried to navigate myself and enter all these so-called metaverses. The more metaverse experience I've had so far was when I put the Oculus on and I was in Horizon Worlds or all these meta applications. It felt, I mean, it's not decentralized, it's not NFTs, it's not digital asset ownership, nothing like this works there, but it feels more metaverse than anything else. And I don't know whether, you know, if these people are going to capture the market. I don't know. That's food for thought, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, but I don't think that. I mean, it's kind of like the Web 2 world and the Web 3 world. Mm-hmm. You know, how hard has it been to get people to move over to the Web 3, right? So, like you said, once Meta captures the market with the metaverse, how difficult is it going to be to move people from a centralized metaverse to a decentralized metaverse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, I think research has to be done on that, because that's, you know, that's more on sentiment, because whenever you try to explain crypto to people, they really don't get it, and they continue to dismiss it, right? If you try to explain, people don't understand crypto, right, or blockchain. So how are we going to try to explain a centralized metaverse versus a decentralized metaverse and the benefits between a centralized metaverse and a decentralized metaverse, right? Where you control your data, you know, and things like that. So it goes back to, you know, the NFT conversation. Someone who doesn't have that much value in data, someone who doesn't have that much value in terms of assets, do they even care about centralized versus centralized metaverses, right? Do they want to go to a decentralized metaverse to kind of capture that value? At some point, it's almost like, okay, at what point is it really worth it to move and sacrifice UX, because, you know, Meta's going to have the greatest UX. I don't think that can be argued, right? Are we going to sacrifice that for $10, right? Where I can go into a decentralized metaverse and make $10, you know, based on for my data, using my data and things like that, you know. So I think that conversation has to be had, and that research needs to be done.
I agree. So we have a few more minutes left. So are there any other questions from anyone? I think there's one from Katarina in the chat.
How easy or difficult is it for an individual to find the metaverse world which they should join, depending on what they do? What would you advise an individual starting to explore the metaverse now? So it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. Especially now, it's not that difficult, because a lot of these people who were talking about the metaverse are now ran out of money, and the metaverses aren't functional. So I would say that there's a handful of metaverses to look into. You know, a quick YouTube, you know, search will kind of give you access. Coin Bureau, guy from Coin Bureau did a review of the top metaverses, where you have these individuals that kind of give a quick 10-minute rundown on the metaverses, where they can actually tell you, you know, what the use cases of each metaverse is. You can reach out to me, and, you know, based on you know what your needs are, I can you know, guide you in a certain direction. But from a general perspective, you know, I think that, I mean, you can't really go to a textbook and find that. You can't go to a journal article and find that right now, you know, at this given juncture. I mean, yes, there's some books on Amazon, but I still don't think that I still think those are theoretical in nature. And I think the best resource right now is going to be on YouTube or to network with individuals within the Web3 space to understand what the best metaverses are. But I don't think it's that difficult. So again, if you're a gamer, Sandbox, you can go in a Sandbox and see what Sandbox has to offer. You can go on Illuvium if that's what you're looking to. If you want to do it from an enterprise perspective, you can go into Voxels, go into BitCountry. Decentraland has held a number of events from an organizational perspective, and then also we can say centralized versus decentralized metaverses. There spatial and all the other centralized metaverses that individuals have or that projects are offering. So so what would you advise an individual just starting to explore the metaverse? The greatest tool right now, like I said, is going to be YouTube. The difficulty is to kind of filter through the so-called influencers and actually get the real research, or get the real people who are actually doing the true unbiased research within the metaverse space. But yeah, YouTube, and then also you can go on a Google Scholar and see some of those use cases. Again, look at use cases, because some of those theoretical studies on the metaverse again, these are my thoughts. But yeah, some of the case studies on the metaverse, there's about 4 or 5 out there, will give you insights if you want to get kind of go down a rabbit hole from a metaverse perspective.
Super. Thank you very much, Justin. I think we are just on the clock, so I think we can wrap it up here. Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation and very lively discussion. I think you gave us lots for food for thought, and we're looking forward to seeing you in one of our classes in our MSc in Metaverse program. We'll be in touch.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.